Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dacey if you're new here, and today's video is going to be a tutorial all about makeup application and prep steps for dry and eczema prone skin. If you guys have been watching me for a while, then you already know that I have a very dehydrated dry skin type, and I also suffer from eczema flare-ups. Eczema is something that I've noticed is really diet related, so I've luckily been able to pretty much keep it under control with my diet, but I also notice that sometimes I just get random eczema flare. But dry skin is something that I'm constantly trying to combat. A lot of times you guys say that you can't believe I have dry skin, but that's because I really take the time to properly prep my skin, and I I'm a little bit more strategic with the makeup products that I use, especially on dry skin days. So I wanted to share all my tips with you guys, help you feel a little bit more confident for those of you that do have eczema prone skin and dry dehydrated skin like myself. So before we get into it, guys, please make sure that you subscribe to my channel so you can stay updated whenever I upload new videos. And also don't forget to come follow me on Instagram, because I'm always on Instagram when I'm not on my channel. And we'll get into the tutorial now. Okay, so let's get started off talking about skincare prep, because like I said, that is one of the most important steps in makeup application, especially for those of us with dry and eczema prone skin. I think it is so important that you always start off with freshly cleansed skin. If you guys have dry or eczema prone skin, then you know a lot of times those dry patches can actually break open, they bleed. That open skin is really susceptible to breakouts, pimples, and it's just a whole nightmare. So I always make sure that I take the time to properly cleanse my skin before I go in with makeup application. The cleanser that I've been a really big fan of lately has been the Dove Dermaseries face wash. I like this because it is such a gentle cleanser. I don't want to use anything that's too aggressive or stripping on the skin, especially first thing in the morning. I just want something that's really nice and gentle, gonna cleanse my skin, not leave it feeling stripped and tight, and just make my skin feel fresh and clean, but not like it's been completely depleted of natural oils and softness. So this one is really nice because it still leaves my skin feeling supple and hydrated, and if I do happen to have any eczema patches, it does not sting the eczema patches, which is a big thing for me, because when I do have eczema flare-ups or broken skin from dry patches, I really need something that, even if it does happen to kind of go over those areas, it doesn't hurt or make my skin even worse. So that is what I used today to prep for this makeup look. We cleansed with the Dove Dermaseries face wash. We're gonna go into moisturizing, and I'm gonna be using the Dove Dermaseries Dry Skin Relief Face Cream. I have been really loving this because I feel like it keeps my skin hydrated all day, and it's really, you get the sensation of something that's a lot more thick and creamy, but this doesn't feel heavy on the skin. It's very lightweight. It absorbs into the skin very quickly, which is really ideal for makeup application because there's no wait time. Usually when I'm using really thick creams, I feel like I kind of have to wait a few moments for it to sink in, but with this one, it just absorbs so quickly, and it has a little bit of SPF. And the thing that I love about this cream the most is that it keeps my skin looking dewy. There's still a little bit of shine to the skin. And then the last step is going in with the Expert Repairing Balm. I have talked about this on my channel so many times. You guys know how much I love this, and one of my favorite ways to use this for prep is to apply this onto any areas of my face where I'm extra dry or more prone to dryness throughout the day. So I just take a tiny amount of product. You don't need a lot. A little bit goes a long way. Just on the back of my fingernail. And then in between my clean fingertips, I really warm the product up just so I get it nice and melted. And then I will lightly tap this over any of the places on my face where I'm more prone to dryness. So for me, that's right in the corners of the eyes and just the whole under eye area in general. And I pay a little bit more attention to the corners of my eyes because that's where I tend to get extra dry. I always like a little bit on the corners of my nose and then my chin. So now we can move into makeup application, and I'm gonna be using a hydrating primer. This is the Marc Jacobs Undercover primer. And then I'm also gonna be using the Marc Jacobs Dew Drops. This one has a really lightweight formula, and it does make your makeup last longer because it kind of has like a little bit of a satiny finish but it's like hydrating. Then I go in with an illuminator. I'm using the Marc Jacobs Dew Drops. Illuminator is really a dry skin girl's best friend. Just take a little bit and I'll apply it all over my skin. Illuminator is really a dry skin girl's best friend because it keeps the skin looking hydrated and it just prevents the foundation from looking too matte on the skin, which I think just doesn't flatter my skin type as much. I really want the skin to reflect light and I want a nice luminous finish. As someone with dry skin and eczema prone skin, when I'm choosing a foundation, I want something that's really creamy, that still has staying power, and I want something that doesn't make my skin feel or look dry. And one of my favorites, really, I've talked about it so many times, but I really think that this is such a great dry skin foundation, is the L'Oreal Shaping Stick. It has a really beautiful customizable finish, anywhere from light to full flawless coverage. So what I like to do is just swipe this all over the face and then just go in with my sponge and really blend everything out. I'm gonna do one more layer of coverage just where I'm kind of breaking out a little. Cream foundations are really nice because if you go a little bit overboard, they're a lot more easy to remove than something that completely sets on the skin. Like if I feel like I put a little bit too much of this foundation on, I just kind of wipe it off and it looks fine. My favorite concealer right now for dry skin days is the Laura Mercier Secret Camouflage. I love this because it has phenomenal coverage and a really lightweight but still creamy texture. So what I like to do is just pick the product up directly with my fingertips, kind of warm it up, and then I will just use my finger and really dot it under the eye for some brightness. Also like to take it in here because I have some darkness in there. And this concealer will just melt with your fingertips. And then just take my beauty blender and really blend out this under eye concealer. And you guys can see my under eye looks really nice and hydrated. So that repairing balm is really what's kind of like sitting underneath the makeup, but it's in the skin, so it's not like feeling cakey or looking cakey. But it really prevents like all that crepey dryness that you typically get under there. So it's really nice and just keeps the skin looking gorgeous and like hydrated. Then I'm gonna go in with a cream blush. This one's from Charlotte Tilbury. It's in the shade Formentera. You guys know cream is great for dry skin. So what I'm gonna do is just lightly stipple this directly onto the apples of the cheeks. Then I'm just gonna blend it in with my fingers. For bronzer, I know that using cream bronzer is the most ideal, but it's also a little bit more tricky, especially for beginners. It can be a little bit hard to work with. So a great powder bronzer that will still give you the effect of a cream bronzer are the NARS Sun Washed Bronzers. These are amazing as long as you use them correctly. So I like using a really dense angled brush that I can really work into the product and pick up as much powder as possible. If you use something that's too loosely bristled, it's not gonna pick up enough product and it's not gonna work right. The thing that's so nice about these NARS Sun Washed Bronzers is that you get the effect of cream bronzer, but it applies like a powder. So it's a lot more intuitive, it's a lot easier for beginners, and you still get that natural cream look. To set the skin and keep my makeup in place, I'm gonna use the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder. This one is in Radiant Light, and I like to use a brush that's a little bit more dense, just so I can kind of concentrate the areas of the face that I wanna keep the makeup in place. So I'm gonna use a Smashbox blush brush, but I really like this for setting the face because I can get into the smaller crevices. So I lightly tap this right under the eye. I like it in the T-zone, because that's where I tend to lose some of my makeup throughout the day. So I always like to set those areas. I don't feel like I need to set more of the middle area of my face, and I find that those areas just look bad if I put too much powder there. So I like to kind of keep those reflecting the light. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some Fix Plus and I'm gonna lightly spray this over my face. I'm gonna give it a minute to dry. But while the Fix Plus is still just slightly tacky on my skin, I'm gonna go in with a cream highlighter. I'm using the one from Charlotte Tilbury. I'm gonna pick it up on my finger and I'm just gonna lightly apply this to the high points of my face. This has been one of my favorite things to do while the skin is still tacky from the Fix Plus. Applying a cream highlighter, it won't break up from the previous powder that you put on there. It will still look really natural and wet, and I love the effect. I feel like it makes the highlighter a little bit more intense, and it just kind of hides all the dryness. So here is the finished base application. No dry patches in sight. The skin still looks really nice, hydrated, dewy. It's luminous, it's glowing. You would never guess that I have dry or eczema prone skin. So I'm gonna quickly finish up the rest of my face and then I'll be back to talk final bits and bobs of the tutorial with you guys. All right guys, and this is the finished look with the rest of my face done. I really have been wanting to do one of these videos for a while, just kind of sharing with you some of the best makeup products and some of my favorite prep steps for dry skin days and just pretty much every day in general, because I feel like I do have a more dry skin type regularly. I will have like random oily days, but that's very rare. And a lot of times you guys are actually saying like you don't even think that I have dry skin because it doesn't look like I have dry skin on camera, but that's because prior to filming all my tutorials, I really go in and I make sure that my skin is properly prepped for makeup, because I want my skin to look like it has all those natural oils and like it looks like it's naturally dewy. So it is a little bit more work when you have a drier skin type, but it's worth it, especially if you take the time to use the proper products. That way your skin doesn't feel uncomfortable and tight throughout the day. I know that days where I kind of skip on prep, those are the days that I feel like my skin is the most uncomfortable, and I also feel like people are staring at the dryness of my skin, because a lot of times, you know, dry skin types are just more prone to looking a little bit more chalky, and the texture is a little bit more emphasized. So prep is everything. Products are important, but prepping the skin with the right products is everything when you have a dry skin type. If you guys have any questions about any of the products, hit me up in the comments down below. Like, I'm your girl, I'm here to help you. I'll always help you as much as I can. And product links and information will all be in the description box down below for you guys, so check all of that out. And yeah, subscribe if you didn't earlier, and please come follow me on Instagram too. Other than that, guys, I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching this one.